The story did not end with the runway. In fact, it had just begun. As Paris Fashion Week 2025 drew its curtains, the reaction clip of Frédéric Arnault watching Lisa spread far beyond the fashion world. French morning shows debated it as if it were political news. Korean entertainment outlets dissected it frame by frame. Thai media ran headlines celebrating Lisa not only as a global idol but as a national treasure who could move the heart of Europe's most powerful fashion figure. What made this moment different was how fast and how far it traveled. In a matter of hours, marketing experts noted, Arnault's fleeting glance had become a case study in the modern collision between pop culture and luxury branding. Professors of media studies even began calling it the Arnault effect, a demonstration of how a single unscripted reaction could shift narratives in an entire industry. Adding intrigue, several body language experts were interviewed across international outlets. One analyst on BBC News claimed Arnault's posture suggested genuine admiration rather than calculated performance, pointing to the way his shoulders leaned slightly forward, signaling attentiveness. Meanwhile, a CNN commentator argued that the restraint in his smile revealed someone trying to maintain professionalism in a moment of personal reaction. These conflicting interpretations only amplified the story's magnetism. The ripple effects continued across Asia. In Shanghai, fashion commentators linked Lisa's growing influence to the explosive expansion of luxury sales in the Chinese market. In Tokyo, trend forecasters argued that Lisa's potential alignment with LVMH could reshape consumer patterns, pushing Generation Z toward European luxury houses at an unprecedented scale. But beyond speculation and strategy, what fascinated the public was the human dimension. People were drawn to the idea that beneath the billion-dollar branding and global fame, a simple human exchange, a glance, a smile, a moment, could carry such weight. It reminded audiences that even at the highest levels of industry and artistry, authenticity resonates the loudest. On social media, fans began creating cinematic edits, pairing Arnault's reaction with dramatic soundtracks, treating it like a scene from a romantic drama. Others imagined business storylines, crafting mock headlines such as "From Runway to Boardroom, Lisa and Arnault to Reshape Luxury." The line between reality and fan-driven narrative blurred, but in doing so, it only made the story bigger. Days later, during an unrelated press appearance in Paris, Arnault was asked indirectly about the viral clip. Though he avoided a direct answer, his subtle chuckle and quick change of subject reignited online chatter. Fans dissected even this non-response, interpreting it as further confirmation that there was more beneath the surface. Meanwhile, Lisa remained characteristically composed. On her official channels, she shared professional behind-the-scenes photos of Paris Fashion Week, focusing entirely on fashion and artistry, without addressing the speculation. Yet, her silence was as powerful as any statement, allowing the narrative to grow unchecked. Every new post drew tens of thousands of comments asking about Arnault, showing how the moment had merged her artistry with a new layer of global intrigue. Analysts argue this incident represents a turning point in the relationship between K-pop and European luxury. For years, idols have collaborated with fashion houses as ambassadors and campaign faces. But Lisa's impact, amplified by Arnault's reaction, suggests something deeper, where a K-pop star is not just a face for a brand, but an equal cultural force capable of commanding attention at the very top of the industry. The economic implications are staggering. Market watchers estimate that if Lisa were to front a global LVMH campaign, sales could surge by billions in emerging markets. More importantly, it would redefine how luxury brands approach cultural partnerships, making authenticity and global resonance the new gold standard. Still, what fascinates the public most isn't just the potential deals, it's the drama. The uncertainty. The silence that invites interpretation. For once, Paris Fashion Week was not remembered solely for designs, but for a living narrative unfolding in real time. The image is unforgettable: Lisa, radiant under the spotlight, walking with grace; Arnault, in the shadows of the front row, betraying a rare moment of vulnerability. Two worlds colliding for a fraction of a second, captured forever in digital memory. And so the question lingers: will this remain a viral snapshot, destined to fade with the next season's trends? Or will history look back at this as the moment when Lisa and Frédéric Arnault reshaped the story of global luxury together? For now, the answer remains suspended in silence. But one thing is clear, Paris Fashion Week 2025 has written a new chapter, one where fashion, culture, and mystery combine to captivate the world far beyond the runway. In the days following Paris Fashion Week 2025, the aftershocks of that singular glance between Lisa and Frédéric Arnault continued to reverberate across industries. What at first seemed like a fleeting viral clip transformed into a cultural phenomenon that drew commentary from fashion moguls, entertainment journalists, and even sociologists studying the intersection of power and pop culture. European newspapers gave the moment front-page treatment. Le Monde described the incident as a cultural earthquake disguised as a glance, while The Guardian called it proof that the global center of influence no longer resides in boardrooms alone, but in the hands of artists who transcend industries. American outlets compared it to the legendary intersections of music and fashion in decades past, drawing parallels with Madonna and Versace in the 90s, or Rihanna and Dior in the 2010s. But this, many insisted, felt different. Part of what made it unique was Lisa herself. Unlike traditional celebrities, her reach cuts across borders, languages, and industries. She is not merely an ambassador but an architect of trends. Analysts observed that her every public appearance influences markets from Bangkok to New York. The Arnault reaction, therefore, was not read as a private moment, but as a symbol of how the luxury establishment views her, not as a guest in their world, but as an equal player. Asian media amplified this narrative further. In South Korea, the discussion centered on K-pop's growing authority in Western culture. Commentators asked whether Lisa's rise, and Arnault's visible acknowledgement of it, marked the moment when K-pop fully cemented itself as a cornerstone of global luxury. In Thailand, Lisa's homeland, the reaction was emotional. Newspapers hailed her as a cultural heroine, celebrating the fact that a young woman from Buriram could command the attention of Europe's most influential fashion dynasty. This groundswell of attention did not escape the notice of rival brands. Reports began circulating that competing luxury houses scrambled to reevaluate their strategies. Some feared that if LVMH did indeed secure Lisa as the face of a global campaign, it would tilt the balance of influence in the industry for years to come. Lisa is not just an ambassador, one executive at a rival house was quoted anonymously. She is a phenomenon. And phenomena do not come twice. Meanwhile, behavioral experts continue to pore over the footage. A viral YouTube breakdown by a former FBI body language consultant garnered millions of views, with the expert pointing out micro-expressions, tiny, involuntary shifts in Arnault's face, as evidence of genuine admiration. Critics, however, dismissed such readings as overinterpretation, arguing that the reaction had been blown out of proportion by the echo chamber of social media. But regardless of the truth, the debate itself kept the story alive. Adding to the intrigue, fan communities began tracking Arnault's digital presence. Every like, follow, or absence of comment on Instagram became subject to analysis. Even his choice of attire at subsequent public events was scrutinized. Was he sending subtle signals? Or was he simply caught in the storm of a narrative he never intended to fuel? Economists pointed out that this was not just gossip but measurable influence. Search engine data showed massive spikes in queries related to both Lisa and LVMH following the viral clip. E-commerce platforms recorded a sudden surge in interest for luxury products linked to Lisa's previous campaigns. For market watchers, this was a reminder that the line between cultural buzz and financial impact is thinner than ever. In Paris itself, the mood was one of awe and speculation. Café conversations, fashion school debates, and even art critiques turned back to that glance. Students at the prestigious Institut Français de la Mode discussed it as a case study, analyzing how an unscripted human moment could overshadow millions of euros worth of production and marketing. Professors encouraged them to see it as proof that the most enduring stories in fashion are often the ones you cannot script. As the week closed, the mystery only deepened. Arnault's team maintained silence, refusing to fuel speculation. Lisa's camp remained equally quiet, letting her work speak for itself. Yet silence, in this case, did not dampen the fire, it fed it. The less said, the more the public imagined, and so the narrative has taken on a life of its own, beyond either Arnault's or Lisa's control. What was once a runway show has evolved into a cultural parable, the heir of luxury and the queen of K-pop, bound in a single moment that captured the world's attention. Paris Fashion Week 2025 will be remembered not for a single collection or trend, but for an encounter that symbolized the merging of two empires, one of music and culture, the other of luxury and tradition. Whether it remains an enigma or blossoms into a historic partnership, the world will not soon forget the glance that lit up Paris, echoed across continents, and reshaped the conversation about what power looks like in the 21st century.